Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Hey, welcome to this episode of the podcast. You are in for a treat. And you guys don't know this, but you probably are, one of the great things that we're focused on this series of guests on is helping you overcome those hurdles. And a lot of folks, obviously, as we roll into the new year and we're coming to the end of 2025, but most people have set New Year's resolutions to start diving into the world of real estate investing, dabbling in, or starting to be more serious about it. And one of the biggest hurdles I get, especially the last few days, is people like, they just want a wholesale. And I always ask, well, why do you just want a wholesale? Well, I don't have any money. Well, today's episode is about helping you buy real estate, how to dive in the world of creative financing, how to raise private money, or how to work with private money investors out there. And we've got an expert who's been doing it for just a few years. She calls Georgetown, Texas home, which is just north of us here. But if you're anywhere in the country besides the Lone Star State, you're going to find value. You definitely want to take some notes from today's special guest. Now, she does a variety of things, fix and flips, does some short-term, long-term rentals, a little bit of wholesaling, doing some private lending more so in the next year. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the Georgetown real estate investment legend, Miss Lisa Farris, joining us today here. Lisa, how are you doing today, girl?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Now, you do have something we're really excited about as well that's coming out here. We'll get to it in a second, but I want folks to pay special attention. You've got a book coming out, right?
I do.
You want to tell us a little about the book and what's so valuable about it, and then we'll dive into more of the meat and potatoes of stuff here.
Okay. The book is about how to find and fund any deal. And basically, it's without a cent out of your pocket, because that's the way I've purchased all of my properties is 100% seller financing or private money lending. I just have had so many people talk to me about how do I do it, and that's why I decided to go ahead and write the book to kind of bring to light how easy it is to invest in real estate without any money.
Yeah, and the book is labeled. I've got it up here on the video. If you're listening to the podcast, you'll want to go grab a copy of this. How to find and fund any real estate deal. How to buy real estate without using your own cash or credit. Very valuable. One of probably that's the thing that people don't realize, that there's so many different opportunities besides just going to a bank and getting a loan, right?
Right. And that's the thing. That's the only way I knew how to do it. And then people are just astounded by that. And I'm like, wow, okay. I think I need to tell my story and tell people how to go ahead and do this.
Yeah. Now, how'd you learn about creative financing? Did you have a mentor? Did you go through YouTube University? You network with people? How'd you kind of develop your craft?
I was broke. I had to
Oh, there you go. Were you sick and
I
tired of being sick and tired, as they say?
exactly. Well, I've been a realtor for 20 years, and when I was about 10 years in, I had a lady that wanted me to list her POS house, and I really didn't want to. She'd let her kids tear it apart and still live there. And I said, well, this is the most you're going to get for it. And then I said it needs new countertops, floors, and listed the long line of things she needed to be able to sell it. And so she said, would you help me do that? And so as a dumb realtor, I'm like, okay, I'm going to GC your whole renovation for you and still make $3,000. And it just kept gnawing at me. So one day I just said, will you sell it to me? And she said, sure. And I was like, whoa, how am I going to buy this house? I don't have any money. And so I just asked her, I said, would you take payments on it until I can sell it? And she said, sure. And I was like, wow, I'm buying a house. And that one I did wind up flipping or wholesaling anyway, made $17,000 in 3 hours. So I was kind of excited about that and got into it. But to answer your question, what really got me leaning that way, $1,000 Ron LeGrand course.
I'm from the Ron LeGrand investing tree as well. Nothing like as Ron quotes, the smell of shit and piss is the smell of money. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's a better cantankerous educator out there who's probably taught more people across the United States. We used to go to a lot of his events as a mortgage banker back in the day. So it's funny.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm constantly taking education, but he was my first one that really, I guess the light bulb went off after I went through that class, and gave me the confidence to at least try to make offers and speak to people.
Hmm. Now, you being a realtor, Do you think that it helps you or does it hinder you sometimes?
Well, I'll be honest with you. As a realtor in the early days, I had no idea about any of this. And I feel like a lot of realtors don't. They're very clueless until they're not and they figure it out. For me, it's been helpful because I know the markets. I know that 2 blocks over, I'm never going to buy any property there. But in this area, I definitely will. I know my areas. I know my prices. So when I talk to people, I can just run my numbers real quick in my head and make an offer on the spot. So I do think it's helpful. As far as investors wanting to get their license, I don't know. I think it goes both ways. Do what you're comfortable with.
Amen to that. Now, do you like to focus just there in Georgetown and Central Texas, or do you invest in other parts of the country or state?
We focus a lot in Bell County, Belton Temple, north of Georgetown. We do have one in Sun City right now. We do Central Texas other than Austin. We do not invest in Austin. That's a tough market, and we just don't want to get involved in it. So we've got some in Taylor and Temple and uh, Fort Hood and in those areas.
Well, those areas are growing like crazy. I mean,
They are.
Belton is just, we've got friends that live right across from University of Mary Hardin Baylor, and it's just grown like leaps and bounds and stuff. Like Taylor's growing big. I mean, you look at all these communities are growing leaps and bounds. Good schools, and it's an hour outside of Austin, so it's worth the commute in a lot of cases. You're on the north side compared to because you get a lot more bang for your buck than you would living in here in Austin.
Definitely, yeah, and the properties are easier to find too. And you're right, they are growing. A lot of people are coming to those areas, so it makes it a good investment.
hmm Now, what's your kind of bread and butter? I know you've done a couple different things, but as of right now, kind of what is your favorite flav? Or yeah, I should flavor of favorite flavor. You say
That's a
that three
that's a
times.
mouthful. Yeah, we like fix and flips right now. Kind of brings in bigger chunks of change, and we enjoy that. We've got the short term and the midterm, and now a co-living, which actually is an unwanted rental. We just couldn't sell it, so I said, okay, put some furniture in it. Let's do a co-living and see how that goes. But fix and flips are the best for us right now. The market's tough. It's hard to find good deals, but just like in 2008 when the going got tough, a lot of people got out of it, and we're looking at that here pretty soon where a lot of people are going to have to go get a real job, and the diehards are going to be the only ones buying the properties.
Especially those that know how to market. You have
Yes,
to really understand the marketing side of the business. Anybody can make money in a market that's going through the roof like we've seen for years, but when you start to some adjustments to it, like we see, yeah, you definitely got to learn how to market. What's your kind of favorite niches to target? Probates, foreclosure lists, absentee. What's kind of your favorite aspect of leads for your business?
um, I get my leads from everywhere. I don't really target a niche. I get a lot of referrals because, as we spoke earlier, I've been a realtor for almost 20 years. So I get a lot of people that call me, past clients, realtors, people that see my marketing. I am all over Facebook. So a lot of it just comes to me as referrals, or they just thought of me. So we did target probates for a little bit. I think that's a really good one, or tax liens is another good one. And right now we've got 4 flips. So once we get those going, I think we'll have to revisit that and figure out which niche we're going to target again.
Yeah, it totally makes sense there. Now, when you approach somebody, when you see a deal, are you approaching folks especially like a listing that's been around for a while, when it comes to getting owner financing or getting them to sell it to you on terms? What's kind of your strategy for that and approach to people that are distressed or can't sell a property?
Well, a lot of times, the issue, if they're on the market and they have a realtor, that is a really hard thing for me to deal with, because a lot of times the realtor isn't educated, so they kind of become the cog in the wheel, I guess is what
Mhm.
what you would call it, and you almost have to try to educate them, but they feel like it's a scam. And I had I have a gentleman that had he had purchased like 15 rental properties from me, and then came back years later and said, "Okay, I'm a tired landlord. I want to sell them." And I explained the seller finance concept to him. And so he has sold every property with seller financing. He's loving it. Well, one of them that we did, the broker stepped in and told her realtor that it was a scam, that we were scamming them. And it was horrible. The realtor left that brokerage, quit, and she was helping her daughter buy this house. They came back later after she was no longer with the broker and said, we really want to buy this house and purchase. But that's what's really hard about the ones that are on the market. The ones that are not on the market, it's easier to educate them and explain. And I typically go in with 3 or 4 different ways that they can liquidate their house, how they can get rid of it, and kind of let them work through what would be the best process for them, or the less painful process for them. I just try to be an educator and listen to what they need.
It almost sounds like an ethics complaint needs to be filed against that broker. It's saying it's illegal or
Oh,
a scam. That's
I
horrible.
know. Yeah, it was horrible.
Just ignorance is a lot out there. If it's not inside that box, it's got to be illegal or a scam. You know what I mean? Now you tease us up with 3 different ways you like to structure. What are those 3 different ways to help somebody sell a house on owner finance?
Um, well, you always give them a higher offer price, and then you give them a payment amount, never interest rate, nothing like that. And it depends on if you're taking it over subject to as well. So there's a lot of different ways. Um, it really depends. I mean, is it a distressed house? Of course, that's a different way to look at it. Is it a pristine, on the market, no equity house? You address that in a different way as well. But the seller finance, just trying to get in with this little money down. I know they need to have some money to move on, and in some cases they're so upside down that they're not going to have money to walk away with it. But you just try to structure it where it's a win-win, where I can sleep well at night, they're happy, or as happy as they can be, and everybody feels like they've won something.
And I love what you said there. A little higher price than they're offering, and then you sell the payment, not the interest rate.
Correct.
Because that's what a lot of people, but we get so bogged down. Oh, the interest rate, that's not a market. Well, I'm paying you. I'm covering what I have are, responsible for each month. I'm giving you a little bit more. And what kind of terms are you looking to hold those for 10 years, 5 years, 30 years? What kind of terms on the owner financing side?
I like to do them long term. I've got a couple that are 30-year notes, which is awesome. I love that. I don't like balloons. If it's beyond 5 or 7 years, I'm okay with that. But when it's shorter term, I don't really want to deal with it because I don't know what the market's going to do. Or that's where a lot of people are hurting right now. Is they took loans and it came due, and now they're hurting, scrambling, trying to do a DSCR loan or whatever. And that's where a lot of investors are hurting right now. So the longer term, the better. And you can also offer better terms if they'll do it longer as well, to entice them to do it longer.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not going to stop them from going out and buying another house if they sell a house on owner financing too. You know,
Correct.
we just had Alan Chesker on a couple episodes talking about some of the different way he's doing subs and reps and structuring deals correctly here in Texas, where a lot of people get it wrong. But you'll also do a lot with private capital, private money. What's your kind of tips without giving away the secret sauce on raising capital and structuring your private investor deals?
Just ask. I kid you not. I'll tell you my first deal, and this is in the book. This is my first deal, other than my seller finance that I just, did. I had a lady had a listing with me, a good friend of mine. She was my photographer. That's how I started to work with her. Bought and sold several properties with her. She had a house across from UMHB that she was selling. It was paid off. So I knew she was coming into some money. And I had another house under contract for $65,000 in Temple. On the same day, I was due to close on the same day that she was closing on hers. And my partner at the time and I said, oh, well, we could withdraw cash from our credit cards and this and this and this, and we could make it happen. And I said, no, I'm going to talk to, her name's Linnell, good friend. I took Linnell to McDonald's.
Why didn't you dine them there on the Happy Meal, aren't you?
It's right. Treated her to McDonald's, and I just talked to her and I said, would you consider partnering with me on this house as my lender? And I don't say partnering with anybody because they take ownership of the property and want to design it. And I'm like, no, you're the lender. You stay in that lane. But with her, it was my first time asking. And I asked her and she said yes. So that was my first thing. And it's always very nerve-wracking. But what I've come to learn is I'm not asking and I'm not begging for money. I'm offering an opportunity to somebody to make their money start working for them. And that's how I present everything is I have an opportunity to put your money to work. And they'll say, tell me more, or they'll just change the subject. And I know they're not the least bit interested.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. A lot of folks out there don't know the opportunities available to them. They think they've got to have a ton of money, you know. Um, where are you seeing like your dollar amounts coming? 25, 50, 100 grand, 100 plus? Where are you kind of seeing on an average basis for you across the board?
I'm usually right around 300,000. It's very easy to get if you have a good deal, and that's what I put together. A nice report that looks very good. Several months ago, I had two deals, and I was scrambling to get financing for it, and I could not get financing for it. And I talked to a real good mentor friend of mine, and he was like, "Relook at the numbers." And so I did. Relooked at them. Neither one of them were deals. So I never did get funding for them. So, if you have a good deal, the money is the easiest part.
Yeah, that's hard though. Sometimes I always joke that, especially newer investors, they fall in love with what I call OTSC syndrome. Oh, that's so cute, and they get emotionally attached to the property. I'm like, no, 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 let the numbers speak for
Yeah.
itself in a lot of cases, right? And obviously, market's a little chaotic right now with values and days on market, stuff like that. What's the best way that you found to kind of, okay, let's make sure these numbers work best and go from there?
Well, I use Rehab Valuator. That's my program. I love it, and it doesn't lie. Numbers do not lie. And I have a quick, my quick and easy. I call it quick and dirty numbers to run them real quick, and it's usually pretty accurate. But once you get in there, it's dialed down to the penny. Whether it's
Mhm.
a good deal or not. So I have to trust that. Sometimes we're okay with a little lesser profit because it's an easy flip or whatever. But yeah, seriously. Also, I want to mention my lenders are just regular people. So they don't know anything about lending. They're not hard money lenders. They're not professional private money lenders. So when I give them these reports, they're just like, wow, that must have taken you hours to do. And it took me like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Canva is a powerful, powerful tool to make things
Oh,
look
yeah.
nice. But that's a great thing, pulling people from just everyday folks. How are you? I mean, is this coming from your network of contacts over the years, or networking to local real estate clubs, or just talking to people in your
I'm
neighborhood? So,
very intentional on Facebook. In fact, I've been doing this for about 10 years and talking about it and doing it. And my brother-in-law called me the other day. First time, I don't ask friends or family ever.
right.
But I'm on Facebook talking about, we sometimes have opportunities and we sometimes let other lenders get in on our opportunities. So he called me the other day and he was like, all right, give me your spiel. I said, what spiel are you talking about? So he's like, the money. So I explained it to him. And they're lending to us this week. So it's just being intentional. I am very intentional, about being on Facebook. In
Mhm.
fact, my daughter and I'll go. We run once a week and do the check on the properties and do this and that. And she'll say, "Hey, you haven't done a video in a while. All right, let me comb my hair and we'll do a video today."
But I love that. We're talking marketing, and marketing I think is where everything really, whether you're finding deals or raising capital or closing deals, it all starts with the marketing side of things. And so few investors understand that when they get into investing, it's all about the market. I mean, we all get bogged down in the nuts and bolts of the deal and looking at deals. But if you're not marketing that deal, you're not raising capital, you just don't, if you don't put yourself out there, somebody else is, and they're going to get the money and the deals, right?
Right. And I've had people reach out to me and say, "Hey, Lisa, I'd like to fund your next deal. And I've been following you and I see what you're doing and I like what you're doing. So I'll have to hustle and go get another deal so they can fund it for me." But they see me and I'm not a salesperson. I'm not, hey, look at me, come, lend me money. I'm just telling them what I'm doing, showing them what I'm doing, showing my before and afters. Oh, I just, gave this person an opportunity. Now I'm very intentional about what I do.
Now, when it gets into the terms that you're offering your private money investors, where do they kind of fall into?
I used to do 1%, 1 point, and then 10%. But with the interest rate going up, I sweetened it a little bit, and it's usually 1 to 2 and 12%. It just really depends. I had one with Linnell early on that we just rock and rolled on the renovation and got it done a lot quicker than we had anticipated. So paid her an extra point. I want my lenders to want to make money, not, oh yeah, we made a few bucks or whatever. I want them to make good money. We make good money and we just keep rolling. So that's how we work.
And how often are you using not only for acquisitions, are you also using maybe for a little bit of long-term stuff or long-term? I'm talking beyond like 12 months.
Yeah, I've got several long term. I've got three that are 30-year notes. One that's about 5 years. So I've got some that are longer term. Most of my lenders, though, are short term lenders, and I need to get a few more that are open to longer term lending.
And kind of, you said 1 in 11, 1 in 12. Are you doing that same thing for some of your longer term, or is it a lower interest rate?
It's a lot lower interest rate. And I even had one that was a short term loan. We were having difficulty selling it. So I talked to the lender and asked him if he would lower his interest rate. And we did a wrap loan to an end buyer who now runs it as a midterm rental. So he's in it for 3 more years and we were able to wrap it and sell it. So he was working with us on that. So that was a good deal.
That's a win-win right there. Definitely
It
win-win right
is.
there.
It is.
What are some of the hiccups that maybe people don't think about when they get into doing creative financing and stuff that you've run into?
As far as being the lender or borrowing?
A little bit of both, a little bit of both sometimes.
Well, recently, there's been a rash of borrowers just defaulting.
Hmm.
Oh, it doesn't work. And for me, if I owe somebody, I owe somebody. I've lost $40,000 on a flip, and that came out of my pocket, not my lenders. And you just don't find, well, I'm not going to say you don't find that integrity. I'm finding a lot that don't have that integrity.
Hmm.
In fact, we're suing somebody right now for fraud. They basically got another lender, didn't tell them about my loan, and they, I thought they were borrowing enough to pay us a payment. We wanted 80,000 back, and that was half of ours. They got a $200,000 loan. So nobody knew about each other, and so
Mm.
anyway, it just blew up. Um,
Mm.
but just finding that you have to be really careful. I think I could have done that a lot better, being more on top of it, seeing what he was doing. I think that that's something that you have to do. Don't just lend your money and then just wait and pray. That's just not the way to do it.
Yeah, that's not never a good. Uh, that's a recipe for problems. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Wait and pray,
Yeah.
versus being active and communicating and stuff like that's one of the most important things. I mean, we've all had deals that have gone south and stuff like that, but the more communication you can do, the better.
I'm working with lenders right now that reach out to me and, hey, how's the market? How's it going? And then throughout the process of the renovation, same thing. They were very active, and I was like, okay, I need to be more active and talk to these people and keep up on it more.
hmm How do you set up like a portal or share with them on a regular basis, kind of the updates and stuff like that for them, or is like Podio or Basecamp or something like that?
No, it's just very casual, text or email back and forth. I have one lender that for the draws, she used SiteWire, and I love that as a lender. As the borrower, not so much, but as a lender, I'll definitely use that in the future because you have to go out there, take a picture at the spot because it's whatever you call geolocated.
Yeah.
Take a picture of the kitchen as it's being done and the repairs that are done, and then they'll release the draw. And I thought that's perfect.
Hmm. Are you using it a lot with self-directed IRA investors, or is it more just folks using savings and checkings or retirement accounts on their own?
It's a huge, it varies with everybody. We lend out of our 401k. And, a lot of people are doing that now. It's such a smart move to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Now you kind of run the Centex Dealmakers group too as well, don't you?
We do. Mark, my husband, and I run Dealmaker Syntax, and it's a different type of group because we were lacking something here in Central Texas, and it's either the happy hour networking hour or groups that just have no integrity. And I wanted to bring the deal maker integrity and training here. So we bring in people from all over the country to train on everything. And it's topics that aren't talked about here. We're a big fix and flip wholesaler area. We brought in Eddie Speed this year. We talk about notes. We talk about even mobile home investing, RV park, everything, just, private money lending, things like that. And it's a great group of people. It's just really, they've become a family, and we have a lot of fun together.
Well, it's a great thing. You're right. Central Texas has lacked a good group that focuses on the folks showing up, not the educators. You know what I mean?
Right.
We
Yeah.
can talk about that later on.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big thing. You got if you're going to run a networking group, a RIA club, focus on what's going to be best for the students there and answering their questions, not just we're only going to teach about what we do because we're the founders of the group and stuff like that.
Right.
So we've seen a lot of that as well out there. So that's
We talk, we call it the dog and pony show with the big table in the back. That's what we call those.
so true, so true on that. Where do you've written the book. What was the biggest aha thing that came out from you writing the book?
Um, oh, that's a good one. Let me think about that. I guess just realizing that people didn't know that you could do that. And even the small sentence that I said earlier is I've got an opportunity for you to put your money to work. I tell people that and they're like, oh, because they're like, I don't want to beg for money from
No.
my network or whatever. The other thing is I get all my money from networking with people, reaching out, being intentional, talking to people. I said, go to these meetups. Like we go to Dealmaker, Virginia every year without fail. Before I go there, I identify 3 people that I have not met that are huge and going where I want to go. And I make it an intentionally go up, shake their hand, talk to them, and introduce myself. Daniel Clayman was there last time. He was one that I targeted. So I always want to speak to these people, and you just never know about that. My daughter went last time and connected with Jim Ingersoll. He's the one who created Dealmaker. She just bought her first flip, 100% financing, and Jim is her lender.
Oh,
So
nice,
28
nice.
years old, never done a flip. She works with my husband and I, but it was just at a point where Mark and I were getting married in 2 weeks. We were just closing on our third flip, and she brought a really good deal to me. And I said, no, I said, I cannot, my brain cannot do any more. I just cannot do it. She said, I want it. And I said, I'm not going to JV with you because I'll be all up in it. I'll be telling her what to do. So I said, I'm not going to JV it. And you need to go find your own lender. And she went and found her own lender. And it's just from meeting people, talking to people, making an impression, and that's what it's 100% about, is who you know in your network.
That's so true. Jim's a great guy, by the way. I've known him for
He
years,
is.
and it's just phenomenal. That's the thing about networking, getting out. Can't be a wallflower. Got to get out and talk to people, communicate. And I think it's one great thing I think a lot of folks are looking for are local places where they can go press the flesh, and just
Yeah.
get a
Yeah.
chance. So we've done so much stuff online and Zoom and stuff like that, that local events and networking events are so valuable. When does the Centex Dealmaker group meet? Where do they meet
We
at?
meet the second Wednesday of every month in Round Rock at, I'll have to think of the name of the restaurant, but I'm going to call it Cantina. I don't know.
That's okay. You can send it to me. We'll put the link in there if there's
Okay, that
there
sounds
for
good.
everybody there. But there's
And we're
but
having
there's
a good Christmas one. We're having a jingle mingle. So we
oh
dress up in your best holiday attire, whatever that looks like. It's a lot of fun.
oh that's awesome. Yeah, it's coming out the week after your book is released, then basically, huh?
Yes, it is.
That's exciting. That's definitely exciting stuff. And there's also, for those that are listening outside of Central Texas, there's also different deal maker meetings in different cities across Texas as well, too, across the country, right?
Correct. There was one deal maker 3 years ago, and Jim opened it up. We were the third one to bring it to our city, and now there's over 30. So
Very
it's
nice.
really exciting.
Yeah, it's good seeing a growth aspect of that. That it just tells you that people are looking for stuff. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
exactly.
Now, with your realtor experience and years of an investor out there, what's your crystal ball say about 2026, Lisa?
Um, I don't think it's going to crash. I really don't. I think it's making a correction. I think a lot of us purchased way too high,
Yeah.
spent way too much money at a point. It's coming back. It's going to correct. We're going to have to adjust. I think prices aren't going to tank, and we're not. I don't think it's going to crash. I
Yeah.
really do not. That's my thought, whether it's correct or not. But I just don't have that. Remember 2028, that was horrible. I don't know if you were in the market then. I was a realtor. I became a realtor 2 years before that, listing agent 100%, because I didn't want to drive around
Mhm.
flaky buyers. So I had like 6 listings, and they all were unrealistic, and I fired all my listings, and I took around buyers for 3 years, and because the prices were so good and you could
Yeah.
sell pretty easily. I don't feel like we're going to be in that again. I think we're going to see some good deals. I think we're going to get some good seller financing deals, but I just don't think that it's going to crash.
No, we're seeing a correction in, especially in the Central
Yes.
Texas market. A lot of places are going to go through a correction. You
Yeah.
know,
Austin is having a rough time, but it
yeah,
did. It went way too high, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, my next door neighbor across the street here, basically, he bought at the peak, and his home has dropped about 50 grand, about 10%.
Yeah.
But he bought it. It took him 2 years to get a property, closing on a property. He kept getting outbid, stuff like that.
Oh,
He's going to be in it for 7 to 10 years. He's not looking to flip it. You know what I mean? He's looking
yeah.
for a house, might get an apartment. So it'll come back, and he'll end up, we all know values basically in Central Texas double every 10 years. So,
Oh, yeah. It'll
that's,
come back.
mhm.
Just patience.
Exactly, exactly, Will. How do people connect with you to get on your investors list or get on your deal list? Therefore, what's the best way folks to reach out to you?
You can reach me on my email. It's Lisa at ljepropertysolutions.com, or look us up online. You can find us all over, or I'm all over Facebook. Lisa J. Ferris. Easy to find.
Easy to find. We'll put that linked into the Facebook account. And then the most important thing, how do folks grab a copy of your book?
I don't have a link to it yet. It is going to be on Amazon. We'll be posting the link for it December the 5th. But you can sign up for information. Just email me or message me, and we'll get you put on a list to sign up for updates on that.
Well, she's going to send me the link here, guys. So we did record this just a couple days earlier. So if you go down into the descriptions on the YouTube and the podcast, the link will be there for you. So uh, we'll get that there. You click on that, go order it, download it. You're going to love it. Lots of great quality information. You got somebody who's got decades of experience, who's been through up and down cycles, and has found I think really the holy grail of investing, buying on terms, creative financing, and how to get deals done. When was the last time you got a traditional bank loan on a property, Lisa?
Um, Probably 20 years ago. I really I'm telling you, the last 10 years, I've never been asked my credit or how much I had in my checking account. And sometimes it's a good thing because I might have a cup of coffee, enough to buy a cup of coffee, but
Well, but that's the thing. You're putting your money to work. I think real estate investors all do that. A lot of times we're property rich and cash poor, but it doesn't mean we're not closing deals. We're not
yeah.
letting, I think it's the number one lesson that people need to hear. Don't let what's in your checking, savings, retirement account stop you from going out investing. Go get Lisa's book, go read it, go follow her. There's so many different ways to, make a deal happen without having to go through bank financing. So
Well, thanks for having me on, Scott. I really appreciate it.
no problem. Did a great job, everybody. This is her first podcast. So she did a tremendous job. She was a little nervous about it beforehand, but she did great. Just two people talking real estate investing out there. So good job, Lisa. Once again, everybody, hey, go out, take some action, get a copy of her book, go connect with her. Go make sure you subscribe to the podcast and leave a 5-star review. We love to see that as always, and go share it with somebody else out there. But go out, most importantly, if you want to take action and you want 2026 to be differently than 2025, go start making deals happen. Go network, get out, quit being a wallflower, quit being an introvert, and go get things done. Become a deal maker, and we'll see.